Don't leave me hanging. It's go time.
Hey everybody, this is Josh, and here we have another game submitted by Vequeth on the public test realm maps. This one, I believe, is public test realm map, 1v1 test map number... what was it, 2 or 3? Let me recall all the names that I gave. It was Lost Temple 2 and then Dirt Farm. So this one is test map number 3. I've deemed it Desert Hills because I have no imagination, and it is a desert tile set and there are hills scattered around it, so thus Desert Hills was born. Vequeth submitted a couple of replays on these public test realm maps. Very nice of him to do that so I can cast them for you guys and we can get a look at a little bit of the new terrain on these maps. We just saw a game on Crystal Forest. If you haven't watched that, go take a look at it. That was 1v1 test map number 5 that I have deemed Crystal Forest, and now we're here on Desert Hills to see if anything is different. I'll go over the quick aspects of this map. Once again, your main is rather large, actually really large, I should say. There's just a tiny ramp. This is your only entrance into the base, only conventional entrance, non-air entrance. And it is about the size of Lost Temple or Metalopolis, just like we saw in Crystal Forest. Your natural is going to actually be tucked away a little bit, and the natural does have a backdoor option here with these destructible rocks, and there's a little bit of a terrain gap here. Make it a little difficult to defend your natural. Vequeth is going to be scouting first. He heads, looks like the natural path for this probe is going to be past the gold expansion, then into this left side spawn. I was wondering if actually it might have taken the route... oh, nope, that's a different map, sorry. I was wondering if it might have taken a different route, but there are destructible rocks blocking everything. Still getting a feel for these public test realm maps. This is actually the first game I've cast on this one, Desert Hills. It is a 4-spawn map. That's why they are scouting these other positions first. They're just, checking wherever they usually check on Delta Quadrant, I imagine. Vequeth and RedAlert going to bump heads right there. Vequeth, of course, is our red Protoss player, forgot to mention that, and RedAlert is our orange Terran player this time around. Don't know too much about RedAlert, but Vequeth assured me that these games were at least at diamond levels, so we'll see what these guys are capable of. Vequeth soon going to be arriving. You can see the scouting pattern here on the mini-map quite well. Actually looks like a guy... actually, no, it reminds me of the chick on The Amazing Race pulling a watermelon back and trying to hit that knight statue or whatever it was, and the watermelon comes back and hits her really hard in the face. Doesn't it look like that? Like this is the watermelon right here, RedAlert's base, and then this is her head, and these are her legs, maybe, and she's pulling back really hard, and she's gonna get hit with a watermelon. Okay, forget I said anything. But, Marauders coming out, concussive shells being researched. Second barracks coming down for RedAlert. Don't normally see 2 racks so much against Protoss. Usually I see it against Zerg players. I don't know though. I don't ladder as Terran, so I'm not really 100% sure how common this is. RedAlert did manage to actually kill off that scouting probe, so we're going to be stuck with the Watermelon Lady minimap for just a few more seconds before RedAlert returns home with his scouting SCV. What did he see in Vequeth's base? Nothing crazy. Looks like the very standard Protoss build once again for Vequeth. Don't see too much variety out of that unless the player is going for fast Stargate or proxy gates or something like that. Now we see some use of this Xel'Naga Tower. Please notice that it overlaps with this other Xel'Naga Tower, and it does grant great vision of this ramp. I'm just going to take RedAlert's vision for a second. Grants great vision of this ramp and the path that is necessary to your own ramp. So this Xel'Naga Tower actually providing a lot of information. There's a visibility blocker here too, so unless your opponent goes out of his way to check the Xel'Naga Tower, he's not actually going to be able to kill off this SCV. So if Vequeth just ran straight up here with Stalkers, he would this SCV would be safe due to this brush here. Looks like RedAlert is going to be coming now with 3 Marauders, a Marine, and an SCV. Any hopes he had for building bunkers are going to be dashed as that SCV is killed. Vequeth looks like he is expanding after only a single gateway. Well, he drops 2 more, so looks like 3 gate expand, but that Nexus is quite a bit further along than those 2 gateways. So 1 gate expand into 3 gate. Most likely going to be seeing another robotics facility out of Vequeth. He did drop a forward pylon here. This placement, I have to say, is pretty decent. Not sure what we're going to be seeing conventionally on this map. I would think maybe back here would also be safe, as your pylon is not quite so exposed and you can still warp in up here in the sort of front line area. So maybe a little bit, maybe I would have done it a little bit differently, but this still is acceptable. We'll see if it comes back to make a difference here when Red Alert pushes in once again with his 5 Marauders and 2 Marines. Back at home, he is expanding as well at his natural. Also getting stim pack research is about to finish right now before this robotics facility can come up, so Red Alert could actually do a nice timing attack here with stim, take out a couple of these zealots and sentries at least. Vequeth probably would be able to hold it off though, so it's really up to Red Alert if he wants to do an army trade right now. If he's ahead in production, he might want to do that, but actually Vequeth is doing quite well in production, and Red Alert doesn't even have a factory or a starport up yet. He's sticking off of these 2 barracks with just Marines and Marauders for the time being. Back at Vequeth's base, he does have that facility finished, not building anything out of it just yet. No bay going down extremely quickly, so not sure what he's going to be building first. I would probably suggest an observer just so we can make sure that Red Alert is actually behind on production. This natural seems to be very tiny, like it's very well tucked in, so you could build bunkers and cannons and things right here, and they would actually be very effective, except for these destructible rocks. Of course, you need to keep an eye on that as well and fortify this front a little bit, because if you're too far back and too heavily defended back here, obviously your ramp into your main is not going to be as heavily defended, so there is some give and take with that natural being tucked back like that. Robotics Bay is being built right now, and an observer coming out. Vequeth adding on a 4th gateway as well. So busy Vequeth here, our Protoss player. And Red Alert really just seems content to mass Marines and Marauders. Can't really argue with that. We've seen MM do a lot of devastation in past games. He's adding on 2 more barracks. Nope. A barracks and a factory, getting a 2nd gas and a 3rd gas up now. Note that both of these geysers are on the same side. That way, if a player does some siege tank stuff down here, won't be able to just shell your gas, though he would be able to shell your orbital command from there, and Vequeth needs to be aware of that as well. A siege tank right here with a Viking overhead could actually hit his nexus from there. So there's another little con to your natural. They want to make it a little bit harder to hold your 2nd base, I guess, or at least have you aware that you could lose it at any time. It almost reminds me of a cliff drop on Lost Temple, except the height advantage actually goes to the defender rather than the aggressor. Vequeth did get an observer in there. He saw everything that was going on, saw these 3 barracks, single factory, and starport here coming up. Did he get a look at that expansion? Let's actually look. No, he did not. Does not know the expansion is up. Ooh, look at this. Red Alert breaking down these destructible rocks. Looks like he might be going for a shorter path, maybe wanting to break down the backdoor rocks of Vequeth. Luckily for him, he's got an observer overhead, so he sees all this going on. He's dropping a photon cannon here at his wide ramp, not really fortifying much here at his destructible rocks, so we'll have to see what Red Alert continues to do with that. Let's look at income real quick just to see how even our players are. 46 Harvesters to 44, Vequeth just slightly in the lead. Army value should be in Vequeth's favor, kinda sorta. His 2 Colossi, of course, do take up a lot of that gas cost, and we know that Red Alert has just been massing bio up to this point. Colossi will probably be a big hindrance to him. He has not scouted in quite a while. He's only seen a couple of gates, 2 facilities, and not much else. So, ooh, this Forge getting +1 weapons once again. We did see Vequeth do that in that first game on Crystal Forest. So, once again, he is going to try and time this so that he has an advantage going into the major altercation here. A couple of Vikings out for Red Alert. He saw the 2 robotics facilities, probably just guessed that Colossi would be coming out. Not a bad move at all. 3 Colossi up right now. Lots of Stalkers, Zealots, only a single sentry, maybe even 2 sentries. Not going to be the best for force fields, but they do have a lot of energy, so a ton of force fields go down. Colossi sitting in the back with their extended thermal lances. +1 weapons not even finished yet, but Vequeth looks like he is most likely going to take this encounter. A couple of Vikings trying to do some damage to the Colossi there. 2 of them do survive, but if these Stalkers go down to the Marauders, the Colossi are going to be naked on their run home. Vequeth does have a couple of Stalkers here. I like this pylon placement. Lets him warp in without having to break down the rocks. He could even, well, these rocks are gone now, but what he could have done earlier is drop a pylon here, use the observer to warp in. He might even actually be able to warp in from here to here. I don't know if Blizzard thought of that. Oh, and it looks like Red Alert just managed to snipe that observer. Good for him. But do you see what I'm seeing here? Actually, that's a tall. Looks like a two-tier height difference. You know what I mean? So if you drop a pylon here, that actually does cut the warp in range, but I'm not sure if it would actually reach. I'll have to test that at some point. Couple of Colossi still hanging out. Actually, 3 Colossi hanging out. A couple is only 2. 10 Stalkers are up. Another Gateway coming down. Twilight Council coming as well, so maybe a switch into Storm on the horizon for Vequeth. His +1 weapons are done though, and Red Alert does not have any upgrades other than Stim and Concussive Shell and Combat Shield. Viking is sitting at 0-0, but there are getting to be quite a lot of them. 8 Vikings in the air are going to be a lot to deal with for Vequeth unless he gets a boatload more Stalkers. Immortal should be helpful here for those Marauders. Gateway also, that looks like Gateway number 6 being built. No further upgrades for Vequeth. Not sure what he's thinking in terms of, is he going to expand again, but Red Alert seems to think that he would be wanting to expand here soon. So Red Alert might move before that is even an option here. Lots of Vikings in the air, 10 Vikings. Vequeth does have a decent force right here at his wide ramp, but not sure which side Red Alert is going to try to attack from. This hill right now not making any difference. It only would really make a difference if one of the players decided to take their third at this very strangely placed location rather than the gold. If the gold was here though, of course that'd be very easy to siege right now, as it's pretty much this is your only entry point for that gold. Vikings coming in first, swooping in from the left side. I like that move, able to snipe a Colossus very, very easily before Vequeth can react. Your Bio Ball still sitting here safe with 0-0 upgrades, but Zealot Charge is about to be completed and +1 armor will be done sooner than later. So if Red Alert doesn't make a move soon, Vequeth can continue to mass up. He's at 147 supply against 152. Red Alert actually in the lead there. Look at the income once again. Red Alert has taken a lead there as well, so could be trouble for Vequeth to try and hold off. Another command center being built for Red Alert. Looks like he might actually have some thoughts on taking this third himself. He's got a lot of barracks here. 5 barracks, 2 starports, both with reactors. Lots of Vikings and medevacs being churned out right now. Marauders and Marines as well, as you would expect out of those many, many barracks. More Immortals being made right now. Did a Templar Archive ever get built? It doesn't look like it, so Storm not going to be happening here if Red Alert moves soon. There is an observer overhead hanging out just watching everything, so Vequeth will know as soon as this big blob of units starts to move. And here we go, Vequeth actually going to take the initial charge here, sending all his Zealots. Good positioning with the Colossi, getting behind everything. Another one goes, oh my god, 1 volley from these Vikings, able to take out each Colossus. Oh my goodness, so Red Alert, knowing that these Colossi are dead, just running back to his base to try and get a better position here so he can reinforce a little bit quickly. Vikings landing here in this wide open space, not bad at all. There are still a lot of Immortals though, 5 Immortals just cruising through these Marauders. Vequeth actually could still have this, does a big round of weapons back at his natural Immortals, not worrying about the natural base of Red Alert. They're just going to march right in, try and deal with the rest of these surviving units, and Red Alert, GG's, wow. So despite losing all of those Colossi extremely quickly, these Immortals and these 1-1 Stalkers able to just march right up into the main and kill off everything that Red Alert had built. Let's look at those units lost. Yeah, Vequeth actually had a very superior army there, and Red Alert lost about 2.7k more in resources there. 92 units lost, only 48. So Vequeth takes another game here, this one on Desert Hills. Red Alert looks like he was pulling all of his SCVs there to try and defend against this too. Going to be a little bit too late. Wow, he had really, really good saturation. Holy crap, 63 harvesters on 2 bases. He needed that third soon. Anyway, Vequeth wins that game. Now let's go take a look at the third and final replay that he submitted to me on these new public test realm maps.